This is the Reds POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Cincinnati Reds. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good afternoon, Reds fans, and welcome to another edition of the POSTCAST brought by Locked On Reds and the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Tim Daniel, lifelong Reds fan, in my second season here at Locked On, and I want to thank you for spending some time with me today as we discuss the Cincinnati Reds picking up a 5-4 win over the Atlanta Braves. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On to get $20 off your first purchase. Well, on today's show, as you know the news, we can't have very nice things, even in a win. Nick Lodolo has a very nice day at the ballpark. I'm really excited to see him there as well. And Geno bombs hopefully are back for the long run. All of that and a whole lot more, and let's get to it.
This is what you'll be talking about.
So, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Put this one on me. I started writing the show in the fourth inning. That's my fault. I'm not one who believes in curses, unless you're Danhausen. I'm not one who believes in jinxes. But I probably should have waited to write the show because Elly De La Cruz left early today. And you know what's really maddening about it? Is Elly De La Cruz was awesome today. He was so good today. I mean, 2 big hits, drew a walk, stealing bases again, advancing on pass balls. I mean, he was Elly again. He looked so good. And he had that triple yesterday. So you're like, oh, the speed's back. He scores from first, you know, on a hit earlier in the game by Bleday. You're like, all right, this is great. He's finding that groove again. We're finding, you know, he slumped there for a little bit. We're finding the guy that is the, you know, disruptor on the base path again. And then he hits what looked like is going to be a triple, rounds first base, and then leaves early. Now, this could mean anything. He could be just fine. It could have just been something because they said it was hamstring tightness. It could have just been like, you know, he hit the bag a little weird or something didn't feel right when he was running down the baseline. Hopefully. It could also be, as you know, people who remember the Ken Griffey Jr. era of the hamstring injuries, could be one of those things. Hopefully. I don't think it's going to be that bad. I don't think it's going to be that catastrophic. But right now, it just is like we're all on pins and needles. We're all in wait and see mode because if there's no Elly, and look, I know they got the win today without him. They had an insurance run. They had a couple insurance runs if you count that Matt McLain run. That was great base running, by the way. And then the Geno solo shot, which we'll talk about Geno later. They're going to be all hands on deck. And look, I know I'm the guy who's just like Elly De La Cruz needs the occasional day off. So I'm not going to say this is because they didn't give him a day off, because it's one of these things where they've had like 90 days off of late. They've been off a lot. They're off every Thursday, I think till the end of June or something crazy like that. So not having him there obviously sucks. And hopefully it's nothing more than like just a bad cramp. And, you know, we're going to let him sit tomorrow against Kansas City and he'll be back in the lineup Tuesday. We need good news here. We need good news because May has obviously been really terrible for this team. And we need to make sure that everything's okay because I don't think they can win without Elly De La Cruz. I don't. And he was so good today. I mean, let's just go ahead and do it. Let's just go ahead and pop it in right now.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
They don't win without the 2 runs from Elly De La Cruz. And he had a walk today. He had 2 hits, so he got on base all 3 opportunities he had. He got a stolen base today. He had 2 runs scored. It's got to be Elly. I know you can say Nick Lodolo was great today. We're going to talk about Nick Lodolo here in a second. You can say, oh, you know, JJ Bleday gave them 2 hits. He was really good too. And we can say, oh, you know, Spencer Steer had 2 hits today and scored 2 runs. But Elly was the fire starter today. And now we're all going to kind of wait and see. I can't imagine we're going to get any news today. I imagine we'll get some news tomorrow, and hopefully by the time Jeff and Steve are live for Locked On, they're not live tomorrow, but you know what I mean? Hopefully by the time they record their show for tomorrow, we know what's going to happen. Other things to talk about real quick. Obviously now we kind of go wait and see what's going on with Matt McLain. Is Matt McLain going to be the shortstop? Are they going to bring up Edwin Arroyo? We'll see. I think at this point they might not have a choice but to bring up Edwin Arroyo. And so it's going to be really interesting to see what they decide to do there. Sal Stewart with the hit today as well. Nice to see. Will Benson had a really nice hit earlier to me. So that was really nice. And PJ Higgins, a double today? I didn't know he had those wheels in him. Did you know he had those wheels in him? I certainly didn't, but it was really nice to see him do that as well. Steve says here, if it were to me, I'd sit Elly with a 10-day IL stint. I agree. I know they had their struggles with St. Louis in that rainout series where they split the games on the doubleheader, but I can live with no Elly for Kansas City and St. Louis and just see what happens from there. Especially, like I said, you're going to have a couple days off mixed in. I'm open to it, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, great day for Elly De La Cruz. Nice to see him out there. And a day of the Reds really kind of struggled again with runners in scoring position. Let's see. Let's talk about the other big part of the game today. Let's talk about our X factor from this one.
It's time to reveal who made the biggest under-the-radar impact with today's X factor.
Let's talk about Nick Lodolo today, because two very promising starts this week. Monday on Memorial Day against the Mets, comes back home today and gets 6 2/3 with 4 strikeouts against the Braves. Now, we all were scared, right? First pitch of the game, Ronald Acuna Jr. puts one over the wall, and you're like, here we go again. We're going to have to go through this again, aren't we? And thankfully from there, he has a walk to the next guy, which is Michael Harris, I believe, and then kind of has smooth sailing. He wasn't great today. I'm not going to go out there and be like, oh, Nick Lodolo is so back. Nick Lodolo is the guy. But it was reassuring. I mean, Tito sent him out for the 7th, and that might just be because he doesn't trust anyone in the bullpen. It might be just because he still has his confidence Nick Lodolo is finding his way again. 3 runs on 5 hits and 4 walks. No one's going to write home about that. But I felt like he did a really good job today. And, what do I always say for a starter? When you leave the game, does your team have a chance to win? They were ahead. And I felt like, you're starting to see the ERA get kind of back to normal a little bit more. It's still sitting at 5.20 right now. But what they're getting from him seems like he's kind of finding his way. And I really want to see Nick Lodolo be back to Nick Lodolo. And it feels like we're on the road to getting just that. Yeah, I'll take what Lodolo gave us today every day. I would too. But we'll see how things go. I think his next start will be in the Cardinal series. If I have my days lined up, yes, he'll be in the Cardinal series. So see him go out there in St. Louis, and that's going to be really nice as well. Let's talk about Brock Burke today. Was absolutely solid in his inning in the 3rd. Gave them exactly what they needed to bridge off from Lodolo. So that was huge. And Tony Santillan, obviously, does Tony Santillan things. I'm going to be honest. I texted this to Jeff and Steve. When Ronald Acuna came up in the 9th inning, I know he just got an RBI single, which I know is not saying much because it's obviously very much fear with Tony Santillan. I literally text Jeff and Steve in our group, or Locked On group text you guys often hear, but I said, I'd probably walk him. I'm not taking a chance. I'm just not. I'm going to, what happens? Like, I get Michael Harris here. Okay, so be it. But obviously, that's not what they did, and they were able to get out of there. Sam Moll has that was a fun at bat with Michael Harris. Michael Harris does get the best one to draw the walk. Has that ball that is this close to being fair. That was so scary. But that was nice to see. And then Sam Moll obviously ended up getting the last out on the ground ball to Sal Stewart at 3rd base. So yeah, I thought this was a really solid day. Now, Dave, I know Dave's in the chat, and he always says Spencer Steer's my first baseman, and I agree with you, Dave, most of the time, but I think Spencer Steer's going to play second base for a little while, and he's still pretty good at it. So there's that as well. And then I saw someone say it, and I got to make sure we make mention because it was a big story in the game as well. Probably the worst outfield game I've ever seen from Ronald Acuna Jr. I don't know if I've ever seen him play outfield as bad as he did today. There was like 3 or 4 balls that he did not get the read on. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I had season tickets in Sun Moon Deck for years, and I felt like the Sun was kind of fine there. I never felt like I was like getting beat in the Sun. Like, I had Terrace Outfield season tickets for a long time, and that was miserable. I had like 7-10. But you know what? I think the Reds will absolutely be happy with that, and they'll absolutely take a win when Ronald Acuna is, null and void, because even though he has a homer, he can't play any defense either. But such is life, and the Reds will take it because, man, did they need a win after this 3-game skid. But also, one big thing that jumped out today was Eugenio Suárez gives him 2 RBIs, but most importantly, that big home run. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Game Time, and there's nothing like watching a Reds game in person. The excitement, the fans, the only problem, getting tickets can feel like a grind. Long queues, surprise fees, prices jumping at checkout. You don't have any of that with Game Time. Game Time gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. We all talk about this here on Locked On Reds. We love when we get down to the ballpark. Steve's in town. We'll go grab a couple beers. We'll grab us some margaritas from Condado, and we'll sit there and we'll watch our phones. We'll say like, oh, should we get tickets now? Give it another 10 minutes. Should we get tickets now? Give it another couple minutes. And right when it's about 6:55 for a 7:10 game, boom, we get our tickets. We're in the ballpark. Say you weren't like Jeff, Steve, and I, or our everydayers who are constantly at the ballpark, and you don't know your way around Great American Ballpark. That's okay, because the seat view feature is awesome. You go in there, you have the panoramic view. You can see from your exact seat before you buy. Say you're like, I really like sitting out there in the sun moon deck, but I don't really care what seat I have. You just like zone deals. They let you pick the section. You save even more when Game Time selects the seat. Say you want to catch the Reds on the road. Say you're going to St. Louis next week and you want to get tickets. You can follow your favorite team and get alerts when new deals drop. 2 taps and it's done. No stress, no hidden fees, just great seats and minutes. That's what makes it so easy to decide last minute to hit a game. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Thank you all so much here on behalf of the crew, as myself and Jeff and Steve on Locked On Reds, for all your support each and every day. And if you also want to become an everydayer, we have an opportunity here for you. The LockedOnPodcast.com/everydayer. Say you like my work and you want to follow me here at Locked On Reds. Follow me at Locked On Cavs with their postcast during the season and the squad show. We got all that covered for you. Ad-free episodes on your favorite podcast app of choice. You can link it. We got the Discord chat in there as well. We're talking ball with all of our favorite people, and we want you to join us. Check out a 7-day free trial with the notes inside the description of the show. Let's talk about Eugenio Suárez today, because now, if this Elly thing is going to be what Steve and I were just talking about, if it's going to be a 10-day IL stint, they need Gino to go. They need Gino to go now. They need Matt McLain to figure out how to hit balls again now. They need stuff going, and that's where this was nice today, because Gino has a sac fly RBI for Matt McLain when Elly does leave the game, and that ended up being really, really solid. That was something they really needed, obviously. And then later in the game, gets that add-on run that was humongous to make it a 3-run game when he hits that solo shot right there in front of the stacks. Really reassuring there, and hopefully that means his swing's coming back. You know, I know that this is a guy that we're all excited. He hit 49 home runs last year with Seattle and Arizona. You think he's coming here. He's going back to GABP. He's going to hit a lot of bombs. I still think that's going to happen. I still think we're going to see a lot of home runs from him. As the season, especially as it gets warmer outside, I think you're going to see that ball fly. Now, the thing is, even though he was struggling for quite a bit of time, the team's better when he's in the lineup. They just are. And those, 25 games they missed this year? Most of those were during that 8-game losing streak at the beginning of the month when they couldn't get it going. They win when he's there. And I think that's really important. Even if he's slumping, even if he's not doing his best work, they still find a way to win when they have him in there. And so that's what's really nice to see. So thank you, Gino, for a big home run today. I didn't talk about it enough, but I want to make sure I give yet another shout out to JJ Bleday, who is now hitting over 300 in his turn since he's been called up to be with the big league club. At least 2 runs today are at the hands of JJ Bleday, bringing him in both times. Just an unbelievable, may make a case for the best signing in the Nick Krall era. I mean, obviously this is getting way over our skis, but right now, can you think of one better offensively? I'm not sure I can at the moment, because I just thought of that in my head, but we shall see. Potentially be National League Player of the Month. I think he's going to be in the conversation, especially because today's the last day of May, and he raked all month. So that was really fun to see as well. Spencer Steer continues to swing the bat super well. Like I said in the previous segment, probably going to be seeing, if Ellie's out for a little while, probably going to be seeing a lot more of him at second base. And that's the beauty in him. Obviously, he can put him basically anywhere on the field, and he's going to find a way to be helpful. He's a really, really good defender wherever he plays. And I think that they're going to get a lot out of him. I already talked about PJ Higgins and Will Benson. Shout out to the bottom of the order today with 4 hits in 11 at-bats. That'll do. That'll do. But you know what? Right now, everything hangs on what the news is going to be over the next couple days in regards to one Elly De La Cruz. And once we know, Jeff and Steve will have you covered over on Locked On Reds, and I'll have you covered here on the postcast. But, okay, Johnny asks, are you worried about Santillan? Yeah, I don't even think about Tony Santillan in clutch situations if I'm the manager of the Reds. I just don't. Until he can get consistent outs again, he's not getting a call. Charlie Goldsmith talked about that too. He's like, they don't have a set closer. And I went, they don't need one. High leverage guys, have multiple guys that can do it. Call it a day. That's all you got to do. But hey, the Reds are winners today, and we will celebrate that at least as we enjoy our Sunday night where the bourbon's going to taste pretty good because the Reds got a win today, and the weather is wonderful here in Cincinnati, Ohio. But the Reds are victors 6-4 over the Braves. The Reds have 6 runs on 10 hits and no errors. The Braves have 4 runs on 7 hits and 2 errors. Nick Lodolo picks up his second win of the year. He is now 2-1. Spencer Strider gets his first loss of the year. He is 3-1. And Sam Mull gets his first save of the year. And tomorrow, the Reds begin June welcoming the Kansas City Royals, the GABP, who have been dreadful. They've been really bad. And if you want to have more hope in tomorrow, it's Chase Burns Day. Chase Burns takes the hill for the Reds against the Royals. He is 7-1 with a 1.96 ERA. He'll be going against Luinder Avila, who is 0-2 with a 5.06 ERA. First pitch is at 7:10, so I will be live probably about 9:45 or so, as long as I don't go to extras. But thank you all so much for hanging out with us here on Locked On Reds in the postcast. I really appreciate everything. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'm Tim Daniel. Go Red Legs, and we will see you all tomorrow.